since I've done one. Not a ton going on in terms of teams I like. Islanders and Portland both missed the playoffs. Portland missed the playoffs. What's going to happen, obviously. They're not going to get that. They traded McCollum to New Orleans, but they're not going to get the pick. It needed to land between like 5 and 14 for Portland to get it, but they made the playoffs. They made the playoffs and they got into the play. They made the little play-in round, and then they got from the play-in round to the playoffs. To the play-in round thing now, which is kind of stupid. I don't know. The first 6 seeds all get it, and then the next 4, 7 through 10 play. But the one positive for the 7 and 8 seed is they have to lose twice, and the 7 and 8 play each other. And whoever wins that game is immediately the 7 seed, so they gotta win one and they're in. The loser of that game then plays the winner of the 9-10, so they can lose twice, and it happened. Because I believe New Orleans was the 8, right? Who was the 7 in the West? Who's the 7 or was? I can't remember. But either way, Portland's not getting that pick. So hopefully, they guaranteed get it next year. If they didn't get it this year from that 5 to 14, it was going to go to next year. So hopefully, New Orleans kind of at least finishes out of the playoffs. But Portland's going to have a pretty high pick themselves, so hopefully they don't fuck it up. Portland has a history of 2 times they had the first pick. They took Sam Bowie over Jordan. They took Sam Bowie over Jordan and Olajuwon. Because Olajuwon was 2, Jordan was 3. So, Bowie had a career, and he wasn't even terrible, but, I mean, he wasn't even in the fucking, he wasn't even this much of a fucking Olajuwon or a Jordan. That's how good both of them were, obviously. Even if they had taken Olajuwon, it would have been fucking huge. And then obviously they took Odin over Durant. The problem was Odin already was having injury issues going in to his career, coming out of college. And when he played, he was never going to be Durant. But when he actually played, which wasn't a lot, he was a solid rebounder. He'd catch like 12, 13 points, got blocks and shit, but he barely played, and then he was done. That sucked. I mean, even when they got Brandon Roy and Aldridge, I believe, in the same draft. And Aldridge obviously had a stellar career. He was on Portland for a while, and he went to San Antonio, and then he bounced around, I think. But Roy was good too, but the problem is his career was cut short because coming out of college, that guy is like, I think it was either in one or both knees. It was like no cartilage. It was like bone on bone his knee, so his career wasn't going to be long. Portland's obviously drafted some good players. Obviously, Lillard, McCollum was good too. They traded him. Clyde Drexler, obviously, and shit like that. Cliff Robinson, fucking. They drafted guys like fucking Bonzi Wells. It was good. Didn't last long. Zach Randolph was their draft pick. He obviously had a good career, but he wasn't on Portland super long. But anyway, they missed the playoffs. The Islanders missed the playoffs. The Islanders are a little more disappointing, but like I said in previous videos, I mean, they started the season on a 13-game road trip, which kind of, because the UBS is a UBS arena, wasn't completely built yet. And then they got fucked by COVID in the fact that I feel like for other teams, they were stopping games immediately, like rescheduling games. Islanders played like 5 or 6 games in a row with like 6 starters out because of it. And then they finally decided to delay games like after they played like 7 or 8 games with this bullshit. that was kind of annoying. Now, if that doesn't happen and they start the season on a normal thing and their arena's already built, it would have taken a lot for them to make the playoffs anyway, because I think Washington was the last team with like 101 points. And I think the Islanders finished 84. They were over 500 by a game or two. So it would have taken a lot. They probably would have missed the playoffs with like 96, 98 points. I'm not overly concerned because this season did one fucking thing. Lamoriello needs to get a fucking goal scorer, no matter the fucking cost. I understand Trotz's system is very defensive oriented and shit, but if they score 20 more goals as a team, they probably have 8 or 9 more wins. Like, you need a fucking goal scorer, go out and fucking get it done over fucking pay someone if you have to. I mean, Brock Nelson popped 30 plus goals, but they need a proven guy who's going to score every time, like a guy who can just fucking score. Barzal, I feel like, can score more, but I don't know what his issue has been in terms of just scoring. Like, I feel like he's more interested in passing, though. And the plus side, Sorkin's proved he's going to be their goalie for a while. Their defense is still solid. It's a weird thing. I actually was saying this to myself. And it doesn't even make sense, but let me know if you think it makes sense, but it doesn't. The Islanders are a playoff team. They're a better playoff team than a fucking better. They're better in the playoffs than the regular season. Like, they're made for the playoffs, not the regular season. It's fucking weird. It doesn't make sense. They need to kind of. Although the first year Trotz, they easily made the playoffs. The second year was obviously the fucking bubble year, which was weird, and they had to play that playing round, and then fucking, weird. Last year was also weird with the division setup and shortened games. But they get to the playoffs, they're gonna do well. They might not, they advanced the conference finals twice, second round once under Trotz in the midst of this year, but they're gonna win some playoff games because that style's better in the playoffs. It's not a regular season fucking style. At least now it isn't. Maybe in the Devils era it was, but it's weird to say, but it's like they're a team that's built for the playoffs, but not the regular season. It's fucking weird. So they have to almost struggle to get to the playoffs, and then they'll fucking start to all of a sudden, oh shit, They need a fucking goal scorer though. Denver, obviously, I talked about Russell Wilson and that other one. Still a great fucking pickup. I know. I was reading he's getting to know all the players like one-on-one and shit. I know they drafted a tight end, and this guy, I think his name's Nick Benito. I want to say he's a defensive end that people were high on. They got him in the second round. I think they got the tight end in the third round. I think they drafted a cornerback, maybe 2 cornerbacks even. I think they drafted a lot of defensive players, actually. I think they got a receiver later on. Those are the 2 names. I can't remember the tight end's name. He's supposed to be pretty good. There's another defensive player they got. I can't remember his name. That's supposed to be pretty solid. They might have got him in. I think they had 2 third-round picks. They made some trades, I think, on the draft to like kind of move back and forward. It was fucking weird. So they didn't have the exact picks they went in with. I'm kind of excited just to see how they do with Wilson. I'm not like gonna fucking pour my heart 100% into that shit. Like, I think I'm done with that in sports in general. But I'll pay attention and hope they do well. And basketball playoffs going on, actually. Second round, right? Got the Heat playing. I think the Heat are up 2-1 on the Sixers. I think the Bucks and the Celtics are 1-1. I don't think they've played a third game yet. The NBA playoffs moves at a fucking snail pace. It's fucking annoying. And in the West, the Suns are up 2-1 on Dallas, and who the fuck are the other 2 teams? Why do I not know the other 2 fucking teams? The Clippers were the other team. No, wait. The Clippers missed the... I don't know. The Clippers made the play-in, and then I think I booted... I get where, but it doesn't matter. Who are the other 2 fucking teams? In the Western Conference. Oh, Warriors and the Grizzlies are 1-1. I don't know if that's 2-1 either. I don't know. Games could happen last night. Let me look real quick and see. like I've said, the NBA playoffs moves fucking slow, man. I don't even think they play back-to-back games in the NBA playoffs. Like, hockey will tip them out. Does hockey do back-to-back? I thought they used to. Oh, it looks like the Panthers and Capitals are on right now. That's 1-1 at the end of the first. That series is tied. Man, if you're a fucking Panthers fan, like, they have the most points in the league. They have to at least, for fuck's sake, get to the second round. God, if they lose again, it's like, what the fuck are they gonna do? How the fuck do you get out of the first round if you have the most points in the league? And they have a pretty fucking stacked team. They went out and got fucking players that can fucking score. Yeah, those series are 1-1. Warriors, Grizzlies. That could be a 7-game series. I still think the Warriors come out of the West, but I don't know. When that team starts hitting their shots, fuck, man. I mean, the Heat are really good. I don't know enough about the teams, but yeah, and the Lightning, the Leafs are up 2-1 on the Lightning. They won last night. Rangers, Penguins are 1 apiece. Flames, the Stars are 1 apiece. Bruins are down 2-1 to Carolina. Carolina's up 2-1. Oilers are up 2-1. The Oilers scored like 8 goals. There's a few teams I wouldn't mind seeing do well. The Oilers, the Flames. I always liked Calgary. I loved the logo. That was a team I always kind of liked. Like, not like it was like I was going to go nuts rooting for, but I was always a team I was like, I like them. Oilers as well. Be nice to see the Oilers do well. I mean, fuck, you have McDavid and Draisaitl. Do you think you would? They're playing the Kings. The Wild are up 2-1 on the Blues. See, that's another team. You know, the Wild, I'd see them do well. I have more interest in Western Conference teams than Eastern right now. It's funny because if you're like, I'm on Long Island, so, and I don't even mind the Rangers. I'm an Islander fan. There's nothing to hate about the Rangers unless you're going fan base to fan base, right? Islander fans and Ranger fans, like, every fan base has annoying fans. The Islanders fans, there are certainly fucking annoying Islander fans, just like there's annoying Ranger, every team. But they, it's like if they won, I personally wouldn't care. But it's like, oh shit, the fans are gonna have bragging rights. Fuck, that's why I don't want them to win. It's similar with the Leafs, because they got Tavares, so if they win, and I have nothing against it, I've talked about this in the past, I had no problem with Tavares leaving. The only thing I had an issue with is the year before he signed, they were thinking about trading him, and he told Gart Snow no. That's fine saying that Gart Snow should not have been friends with fucking Tavares. He should have been like, you know what, dude? We don't think you're going to come back. We can't chance it. We're going to get assets for you. Instead, they got jack shit for him. They should have been like, you're gone, dude. We don't care if you don't want to. He was like getting nervous about having to play like fucking 20 games elsewhere for a season. Doesn't matter. He could have had a playoff run that fucking year and then still sign with the Leafs anyway. That's the only thing that annoyed me is that they should have just, Gart Snow should have been like, sorry, dude, I have to get something for you, because they would have gotten something for him. He's a good player. But it's more like all of a sudden Leafs fans will be like, see that fucking they won with Tavares, even though Tavares isn't, at this point, Tavares might not even be their 4th best player. But once again, if the Leafs win, I don't care. I actually I used to fucking want the Leafs to do well back in the day when they had like Felix Potvin and shit. When they lost in 7 to the, I think they lost in 7 to the Canucks, and this back when they were in the Western Conference, or whatever the fuck they were calling it back then. They lost to the Kings in 7, and I think the fucking Canucks, they might have lost in 7 too as well. When those teams built in 92, 93, 93, 94. So I don't mind. If they win too, I don't care. I wouldn't be like, damn it, Tavares. That doesn't bother me enough. And that's the thing. The fans just are constantly going to boo him every time he comes here. The first year makes sense. After that, it's like, who cares? Especially because, as fucking insane as it was, up until this year, the Islanders had more success without him than they had with him. But that's really it. I mean, at the end of the day, though, it doesn't matter. I don't care. Who wins? But I do. There's some teams I wouldn't mind seeing do well. Washington, maybe Minnesota. That's just, And my friend who's a Ranger fan says the same thing. He's like, you wanted to see the Islanders lose the last 2 years in the conference finals because you don't. It's not even about hating the team. It's just like, fuck. The fans might talk shit. And here's the fucking crazy thing. I don't even encounter Ranger fans on the regular, or Islander fans for that matter. Obviously, they're all over the place. But people are running around. I mean, you'll see flags up for the Islanders and the Rangers and stuff occasionally outside house and shit. But, people aren't. Yeah, I don't know how much the bragging rights would even matter at this point. But I remember my uncle always saying, because he's a Ranger fan, he's like, the early 80s sucked because the Islanders won their 4 in a row, and he's like, they were fucking everywhere, And then and then he moved to Jersey in 90, and he's like, that sucked when the Devils started winning their cups. He got the 93-94 Ranger Cup, but sandwiched in between that is a fucking 3 Devils titles and 4 Islanders titles. Or that sandwich in between the 2 fucking Islanders and Devils runs. I was way too young when the Islanders were winning cups. I was alive, but I was not a fan. My first hockey game was 88. I think I was 8 years old, so it might have been before I turned 9, so yeah, it was probably 88. They played the Devils. I remember that. It was the 87-88 season. And the Mets and Yankees are doing well in baseball. I used to be a Yankee fan. I was never a massive Yankee fan. I always liked them and rooted for them and would be pissed if they lost, or happy when they won, but never on the fucking level of Portland and Denver, especially back in the fucking day. Holy shit. But then I stopped losing interest in the Yankees. I don't know why. I was just like, I don't give a shit. And the Mets I never hated. I never looked, unless they're playing in the series, like the Subway Series in 2000, there's no reason to dislike the Mets. I just don't. They're in different leagues. I mean, now they play in interleague play, but different leagues. I don't look at, obviously, teams like Boston and shit are the fucking real rivals, That's the Yankee rival. They're both doing well. A friend at work's son actually got to see the combined no-hitter the Mets had I think it was last Friday, actually. But I wouldn't mind seeing the Mets do well. I might try to get to a few Met games this year, actually. It's just closer to get to fucking Flushing than it is to Bronx. I used to go to a lot of Yankee games when I was younger, like 7th, 8th, 9th grade. I remember going to a decent amount of fucking Yankee games. And then I went to that one playoff game. When they made it back to the playoffs, they won in 15 innings. I think it was game 2 against the Mariners. I think they went up 2-0 in that series and then lost in 5. Like I said, I'm not like a, I'm not huge on talking shit as a fan, too. Like, I've done it in the past. I'm not saying never have, but I'm never, go out of my way to, hunt down fans of rivals or something. That's how it is with sports fans. It's so easy in a lot of ways to be a sport fan because when the team loses, you'll just blame management and everything else, the players. And then you just reap the rewards when they win, and it's your team. I never understood that. I've been guilty of saying it to my Broncos and not my Broncos. I don't own them. I have no stake in them. I'm a fan of the Broncos. I wish they were my Broncos or my Trailblazers. Denver is up for sale, but, I can't throw enough money in on that. I understand why people say it, but I've only, unless I slip saying it, I don't usually say it. I'm not like, my Yankees won the series, mine. I'll just say the Yankees won. I'm a fan of them, But like I said, my sports fanaticism, I don't even think that's a word, but I used to be nuts. Especially, it's funny too, when I was younger. I'm 12, 13, 11, 14 years old. In that age range, just getting fucking pissed when Portland lost. Or Denver lost, now the Islanders, after they made that 92-93 conference final run. Then they got smacked by the Rangers the next year. They missed the playoffs for 7 years, so the Islanders were off the radar. You knew they were going to suck. The Yankees started to get better, but the Yankees started winning fucking titles. And like I said, win or lose with the Yankees, I never got overly crazy either way with the Yankees. And the Yankees had a ton of intense playoff games back in the 90s. and early 2000s as well. Like even when they lost to Arizona in 01, in 7, when I think it was Luis Gonzalez got the hit off of Mariano Rivera, I was more like, holy shit, in shock. I wasn't overly pissed, though. I mean, they'd just come off a fucking three-peat, so it was more like, holy shit, shock, more than like, oh my god. But anyway, yeah. Just gum chewing sports ramble here. But, thanks for checking this out, and have a good day.